Hello and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm Rihanna, and today I'm going to share with you a Pottery Barn dupe. It is their centerpiece, their tapered candle centerpiece. And if you're interested in seeing how I made this dupe, keep watching. So first, I took a trip to Lowe's to get my supplies, and I had a plan to use a 4x4. And I wanted to use metal for the caps on the side of the centerpiece. However, I could not find any items that will cover 3 sides. So I tried this thing here, and I would have to cut the little edges off, and I didn't want to do that. So then I was like, okay, well, what about a bracket? I didn't want to put screws in it, so that was a no. So what I ended up doing was just buying a little piece of wood that you can see right here. Okay, so we have our 4x4 here, and it's a 4x4 that is 6 feet long. The Pottery Barn centerpiece was cut to 23 inches, but I'm cutting mine to 32 inches. Now, the beauty of making it yourself is that you can choose whatever length you want. You can find a 4x4 that is only 4 feet and you're only going to do one. You can definitely buy a smaller one. But I plan on doing a second version of this. So that's why I have a 6-foot piece. But you can totally just do a 4-foot piece, and that will be enough for you to get the 32 inches cut, okay? So I'm gonna take my triangle and I'm going to mark a line at 32 inches. Let me indicate where that is. When my sister does this, she does like this. She just throws this on top of that, and I'm just like, oh, okay, that's how you do that. But I don't know, I'm just not comfortable doing that, so I make a little mark. And then I put my triangle down, and you probably can't see this from that. I'm in the way, so yeah. And then I'm just gonna draw my line, and that's gonna be my cut line. So just center this up. Make sure you get 0. I'm so nervous because I've forgotten how I do this. Okay, that's see, I never get it to cut the last little piece in the back. I don't know what it is about my cutting skills with this, but I can never get that. So I'll show you what I mean. And if anybody has any tips, please let me know, because this is why I'm always afraid to cut this. And so this is what I normally do, is just get my little hand saw. Shout out to my dad for buying these for me. There we go. I ended up cutting off about 1 inch just to make it more even. It was a little slanted, so to make it be flatter and more even, I just went ahead and recut and took 1 inch of it off. But you'll see how much better it looks later on in the video. Okay, now on to cutting the second one. The second one, I'm going to do a different size. I'm actually going to do it to 30 inches. So it's going to be 2.5 feet. So that line I'm not doing anymore. I'm going to make it a bit smaller. 2 inches smaller. Now that cut was much better. Okay, so now that the pieces are cut, it's time to sand, and I wanted to make sure that I sanded all 4 sizes, and I'm using a 120 grit piece of sandpaper on this square orbital palm sander. And I wanted to make sure that I kind of rounded my edges a little bit because I don't like to have too sharp things in my home. So I rounded the edges off a little bit, and then I wanted to make sure on each cut end, that I sanded those as well, to make sure that everything was smooth and it was prepared to take on the stain that I'm going to do later. To fill some of the lines in the 2x4, I added some sawdust from my sanding that came out of the sander. And I also mixed in some wood glue to make my own DIY filler. And it worked pretty well. And then like after I filled it, I let it dry, and then I did go back over it with the sander, although I don't show that, but I did sand it one more time just to be sure that everything was like, you know, smooth and covered like it needed to be. So all that sanding and filling and all of that was completed. It was time to mark out where I wanted the candles to be placed, and I did a offset zigzag style just like it was in the Pottery Barn example. And I used a spade that was 7/8 inch, a spade drill bit to make these holes, and I got the candle holder pieces from Amazon. And basically I'm just, you know, taking my time, easing down on the drill until the hole is deep enough for the pot or the little candle holder to sit inside of the hole. And I just repeated that to make 10 holders, where I think the Pottery Barn one holds 11 candles. So the one that I made holds 10. And I just eyeballed this. It was just, you know, where I wanted to place my candles. Okay, so after I added all of the holes, it was time to stain. I'm using Varathane stain in the color Early American. So I'm just using a staining brush to brush on the stain, and then I take a cloth and wipe off the excess. But you should let it penetrate 2 to 3 minutes before you wipe it off. But I just kind of put it on and then come back and wipe it off. That's just how I do it. And I did stain all 4 sides of the 4x4 and using the same technique, and I also stained the ends of each side of the 4x4. If you choose to do this DIY, be sure to keep an eye out for any drips that may happen. You want to catch those because they will throw off the evenness of your stain. I do want to take a moment to talk about the flammable items that are being used in this DIY. You want to make sure that if you decide to make this and you burn your candles, that you only burn them down to like an inch above where the wood begins. That way nothing catches on fire. The stain is supposed to dry within an hour, so I let it dry for an hour, and then I took some construction glue by the brand Gorilla Glue, and I glued in my caps to make sure that they were secure. So then I had to spray paint the little thin piece of wood that I got from Lowe's. I spray painted it a brown color, and it's a Rust-Oleum spray paint. So I cut that into pieces, and what I ended up doing was cutting it to the exact measurement of the top, and then for the side pieces I made them a quarter, or a total of a half an inch. It was a quarter inch on the top, a quarter inch on the bottom longer, so that they would overlap a bit to kind of give the illusion that it was like one piece that I put on, so it's kind of like a bracket. So I did that, and I used again the construction glue that's by Gorilla Glue to attach the pieces, and I let that dry overnight, and it seems to be permanently stuck on there. I added some candles on here just because I needed to see. I'm a very visual person, and I needed to see what it was going to look like, and I loved it. But what I forgot to do was add some protection on it, and also give it like a little shine, a little nice finish. So what I ended up doing after everything dried down, I ended up using some polyacrylic to cover 3 of the 4 sides. So I did it across the top, I put some on the sides. I did not do the bottom because that's the part that would be sitting on the table, so I didn't put any polyacrylic on that part. And I did also put polyacrylic on the ends of each side of the centerpiece. This is how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you made it this far, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below, subscribe, share with your friends, all of that good stuff. And like always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye.